Let us discuss today's important headlines. Yesterday, we have followed a news that America is coming out of UN Human Rights Council. Followed by America, Israel announced the exit from UNHRC and Israel accused UN Human Rights Council as the body which is supporting anti-Semitism. Israel said that it will be coming out of UNHRC. It will continue in other UN bodies, but it will come out of UNHRC. As you all know, many resolutions are being introduced in UNHRC against Israel. The complaint of Israel and America is there are many other countries which perpetrated human rights violence, but UNHRC is specifically, particularly focusing on Israel. Israeli foreign minister announced that Israel would halt its participation in UN Human Rights Council. And UN experts on the other side have found that Israeli military actions in Gaza are nothing but genocide. Israel and its allies, they are accusing the UN Human Rights Council that it is targeting only Israel. Israel is saying that it is being subjected to more number of resolution. It is being subjected to targeting and more number of resolutions are introduced against Israel than Iran, Cuba, North Korea and Venezuela combined. Okay, so Israel now wanted to exit from UNHRC. This is the news that is coming up from Israel. Coming back, we have a platform called eNAM. eNAM, E-National Agriculture Market. eNAM, E-National Agriculture Market. As you all know, if a farmer cultivates some tomatoes in Srikakulam, he has to sell it in the local market, irrespective of the prices at the national level. eNAM will help the farmers to sell their products online pan-India so that he will get better, transparent and fair returns for his hard work. In 2016, eNAM have come into existence and many agricultural goods are listed in eNAM to be sold in eNAM. Now, Union government, the center, lists 10 more agricultural products for eNAM to help farmers to get higher prices for those products. To help the farmers to get higher prices for those products. The central government have decided to further expand the scope of the trade under eNAM, E-National Agriculture Market, with the addition of 10 more agricultural commodities to enable farmers to get higher prices for their produce. This initiative aims to increase the coverage of agricultural commodities and offer more opportunities for farmers and traders to benefit from the eNAM, that is digital trading platform. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare statement, farmers welfare is the priority for the Ministry of Agriculture. The new commodities that have been included in eNAM includes dried tulsi leaves, besan means chicken peas flour, wheat flour, chana sattu and water chestnut flour, etc. So, around 10 new items were added to be traded in eNAM portal. It's very important and you should also know how government is encouraging online platform for agriculture trading. eNAM, E-National Agriculture Market. Coming to the other news that is coming up. Union government to approve new income tax bill today. Today, February 7th. As you all know, in the recent budget, income tax slabs were hiked and liberalized and up to 12 lakhs by following exemptions, discounts, rebates, one can claim complete exemption from income tax. The Union government is expected to approve new income tax bill today, that is Friday, setting the stage for its introduction in Lok Sabha by Monday. This bill is a key component of a larger effort to overhaul the India's taxation system. The new income tax bill, which is often referred to as direct tax code, is aimed at overhauling the existing tax structure, making it more streamlined and transparent. The bill is likely to be referred to the standing committee to further discussion and refinement of its provisions. The government has already made it clear that the bill will focus on simplifying tax laws, removing ambiguities, and ensuring ease of compliance by taxpayers rather than introducing any new taxes. So, taxpayer friendly tax regime is coming up. Taxpayer friendly tax regime is coming up in India. One of the provisions could include a reduction of penalty for certain tax related offences. The new income tax law will be in a simple language which will help taxpayers and tax experts to understand the provisions better. And also, it will accommodate digital processing and it will make tax filing completely digital. This can reduce legal disputes and can promote transparency. When tax filing and tax compliance procedures, if they go completely digital, this will help in transparency, reducing legal disputes with respect to that, and tax compliance will also be enhanced. Next interesting news that is coming up, International Criminal Court. International Criminal Court, as you all know, was established through a statute called Rome Statute, and International Criminal Court recently issued an arrest warrant to Benjamin Netanyahu also with respect to his war crimes and genocide. Donald Trump imposes sanctions on International Criminal Court over illegitimate Israeli probe. American President Donald Trump is set to sign an executive order imposing sanctions on International Criminal Court targeting officials involved in investigation against the US and its close friend Israel. The executive order is expected to be announced today, which will impose financial penalties and visa restrictions to International Criminal Court personnel, staff, and other members. Donald Trump administration claims that International Criminal Court is unfairly targeting the US and Israel, neither of which are the signatories to the Rome Statute that established the International Criminal Court. And International Criminal Court now is facing the wrath of Donald Trump. ICC is headquartered at The Hague, Netherlands. International Criminal Court is not a direct UN body. International Criminal Court deals with the wars, crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, crimes of grave concern. Recently, you have seen International Criminal Court have given arrest warrant against Benjamin Netanyahu, and last year it gave arrest warrant against Vladimir Putin for his child rights abuses for Putin and genocide and war crimes against Benjamin Netanyahu. So ICC is now under scrutiny by. Next interesting news that is coming up. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's residence was vandalized in Bangladesh yesterday. India condemns vandalism or demolition of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of the nation of Bangladesh. His residence. His residence was turned into his museum and it was demolished. Do you know what the protesters or demolishers have said? The pilgrimage site of fascism was demolished. The pilgrimage site of fascism was demolished. And earlier we have observed they removed the pictures of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman from Bangladeshi currency notes, desecrated the statue of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Now they have demolished his house, which is also a museum. They are trying to make historical revisionism. But if you try to revise the history is already the past. If you try to revise it, history will take a revenge. There's no doubt about it. And Sheikh Hasina, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, called that Bangladesh went on to terrorists and goons, and law and order was completely ransacked in Bangladesh. Anarchy is prevailing in Bangladesh under the regime of Muhammad Yunus. This is a statement given by Sheikh Hasina, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who is right now in India, who escaped from Bangladesh in the last August, who is taking refuge in India. Coming back, Indore district administration, you all know that. Recently, begging was banned in Indore. Indore is considered the cleanest city in India. And Indore district administration imposes strict noise pollution restrictions or noise pollution controls. DJ banned, sound amplifiers banned from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. That should be followed in Hyderabad also. Just before mains exam, we have a lot of noise of various festivals. DJs, banned, sound amplifiers were banned by Indore district administration in between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The district administration has imposed multiple conditions on DJ band, pressure horn, and other sound amplification devices in the district. Accordingly, the use of any type of loudspeaker, DJ, band, pressure horn, and other sound amplifying devices will be strictly banned between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Action will be taken against those who violated these rules, and it's a punishable offense under Section 223 of Bharata Nyaya Samhita. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit Paris. Next week, he is visiting Paris on February 10th to 12th for AI Action Summit 2025. AI safety, opportunities in artificial intelligence, and AI security are the priority in the summit. Earlier, if you observe, 2 years back, British Prime Minister, now the former Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, have hosted a summit in Bletchley Park in England, in London, and signed a Bletchley Park Declaration also. It was hosted completely by Rishi Sunak. Later, in Seoul, South Korea, there was a summit with respect to AI safety. Now, in Paris, AI Action Summit is being hosted by Emmanuel Macron, the French president. The highly anticipated AI Action Summit is set to kick off in just a few days, bringing important global leaders to Paris on February 10th for 2 days of pivotal discussions on the future of artificial intelligence. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be traveling to France to co-chair the Paris AI Action Summit, which is an initiative of French President Emmanuel Macron. The gathering in Paris is expected to focus on harnessing the power of AI systems while addressing the risks posed by the new technology that is AI. AI Action Summit is being taking place when the whole world is facing the repercussions of DeepSeek, which sent a shock waves across the tech industry with its cost-effective large language models. So, this is AI Action Summit, and the theme is safety, governance, and innovation. AI safety, AI governance, and AI innovation. So, the entire details I'll be discussing on the day of the summit. Coming back, if you see Hindu paper today, the very bad news, I can say the bad news that is coming up is central government in India placed down US handling of deportees. There was a ruckus in the parliament yesterday, protest in the parliament yesterday, discussion in the parliament yesterday over handcuffing and chaining of Indian passengers who were sent through US military aircraft. They were completely handcuffed, they were chained. They were completely handcuffed, they were chained. Both houses of parliament erupt in protest over handcuffing and chaining of Indians. Our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, says use of such restraints is a standard practice. US have sent back over 15,000 Indians since 2009, says the government. Amid protests from the opposition members over the way our undocumented Indian nationals were handcuffed and chained by the US while deporting them to India, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Thursday informed Parliament that the deportation of undocumented migrants was not a new development and the use of restraints was a standard operation procedure. Mr. Jaishankar said the center would engage with the US government to ensure the deportation was not mistreated in any manner while being sent back. The minister made the statement as both houses witnessed an uproar over the treatment meted out by 104 illegal Indian immigrants who landed in Amritsar on Wednesday on a US military plane. Speaking in Rajya Sabha, Mr. Jaishankar said a total of 15,756 illegal Indian immigrants have been deported to India from US since 2009. The Lok Sabha witnessed multiple disruptions and was eventually adjourned after Mr. Jaishankar made the statement amid protests. Jaishankar said that it was the obligation of all the countries to take back their nationals if they were found to be living illegally abroad. Sir, that is the speaker and honorable members would be aware that the process of deportation is not a new one. I repeat, not a new one, and has been ongoing for several years. So this is a bad news that is coming up. Our undocumented Indians from America were deported with handcuffing and chaining. So why we need to face such a wrath? What made us to stay in America facing such a deplorable situation? And the conditions in most of the countries are not good for Indian students. Around 13 lakh Indian students are studying abroad. Out of 13 lakh Indian students who are studying abroad, 4 lakhs are in Canada, 3.3, around 3.3 lakhs are in US, and remaining are in UK, Australia, and other countries. But wherever we live, we should live with dignity. We should never compromise with our dignity. Why should we stay if they don't want us, right? We can build our own life, our own empire in India. We should never do that. This is a bad thing. Why we should be handcuffed, chained, and sent back, deported? Okay, this is the thing which we need to understand. And in Hindu today, on February 7th, there's a very important news which might come for you in prelims or mains. What is the Supreme Court directive on sacred groves? First of all, you should know what is sacred grove. Traditionally, wherever tribal people used to live or certain local communities live, they used to consider certain shrubs, trees, and certain areas as religious or pious or sacred areas, which is full of greenery. And they'll believe that some spirit or some god exists in that area, so they'll pray that area. This is called a sacred grove. And it's the duty of the government to protect the sacred groves also. On December 18th, 2024, the Supreme Court directed the Forest Department of Rajasthan to map on the ground and via satellite every sacred grove in detail. They were to be identified irrespective of their size and based solely on their purpose and their cultural and ecological significance to the local communities. After mapping the sacred groves, the court directed that the forest department should classify them as forests and notify them as community reserves under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Effectively, the decision would transfer the sacred groves from community protection to forest officialdom for the purpose of conservation. The move defies the Forest Rights Act 2006, which by virtue of being enacted later overrides the Wildlife Protection Act, being and which the government have intended to do the reverse. So, the sacred groves of Rajasthan, also known as Orans, Malvan, Deoghar, and Bau, numbered around 25,000 and covers about 6 lakh hectares of the state. Sacred groves. You might expect a question on sacred groves. So, a very important topic even for the students who are studying anthropology as an optional and for GS students also who are discussing on tribal culture, tribal rights and sacred groves. It's very important. Coming back, Supreme Court strongly asked the Tamil Nadu governor about pending of bills. This is an issue. Last year also Supreme Court responded on Punjab governor. Even before that, Telangana government went against Telangana governor at that time Tamilisai on the same issue. The Supreme Court on February 6th asked the Tamil Nadu governor Mr. R.N. Ravi to found what is so gross about 12 bills the state government sent to him for assent and why they were kept pending for over 3 years. For over 3 years. Article 200 of the Indian Constitution mandates that after passing of the bill, the state government should send the bill to the governor. After passing of the bill in the state assembly or state legislature, it should go to the governor. And there is no time frame that was mentioned to what extent and by which time the governor have to give the assent to the bill. The article also speaks about as soon as possible, within a reasonable time. within a reasonable time. But the thing is, governors in various states are taking liberty over this constitutional vacuum. A bench of justices, J.B. Pardiwala, R. Mahadevan, recapped the trajectory of 12 bills, mostly to do with higher education and the appointment process of vice chancellors in state universities for the benefit of the governor, whose office was represented by Attorney General of India, R. Venkatramani. So he asked the question, what is so gross about these 12 bills? Why you kept pending for last 3 years? This is the question. The same thing is happening in Kerala also. In Kerala also, governor sitting on the bills, governor keeping the bills pending, governor sitting on the bills. That is a trending news that is coming up. Coming back, if you see in Hindu paper today, the same thing which we have discussed earlier. Yesterday, we have seen a shocking and surprising news that Donald Trump saying, if at all I could do, I can take away Gaza and I can make it as a very big hub and we can resettle Palestinians elsewhere. And yesterday, US have given that his statement was misrepresented. That's a different issue. US should push for a two-state solution, not displace an entire people. That was a Hindu paper editorial today. For Israel and Palestine issue, US should support a two-state solution rather than displacing the entire population in Gaza. When the state of Israel was created in Palestine in 1948, more than 7 lakh Palestinians, the land's original inhabitants, were displaced. It is not according to me, it is according to Hindu. Palestinians remember this forced mass expulsion as Nakba. Nakba means catastrophe. More Palestinians were expelled during the Six-Day War in 1967. Some moved to Gaza, others moved to the West Bank, while the majority fled to the other countries, where they and their descendants are considered as refugees. In successive peace talks, Israel has outrightly rejected the right to return to their homes. Israel have outrightly rejected their right to return to their homes, which is a fundamental right. Now, US President Donald Trump wants to forcibly transfer the 2.3 million Palestinians out of Gaza, the Mediterranean enclave that has suffered relentless Israeli bombardment from the last 15 months. Donald Trump's plan involves relocation of Palestinians to neighboring Arab countries, taking over 360 square kilometers strip, that is Gaza strip length is 360 square kilometers, which he calls a hellhole, and he wanted to redevelop it into the Riviera of the Middle East. At a press conference in Washington, D.C., with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he also stated sending troops to Gaza if necessary. The White House later claimed that he meant a temporary relocation of Palestinians. It also clarified that he has not committed to deploy US troops, but reaffirmed that his out of box proposal for Gaza was a serious one. However, Donald Trump's plan has at least three fundamental problems. So, Hindu paper strongly reacted against Donald Trump's rantings on Gaza Strip. So, there are many more important news that is coming up. Almost the entire Hindu is also flooded with many articles relating to Trump and also DeepSeek. Should India build a sovereign foundational AI model? Yes. It's a time for India to build a sovereign foundational artificial intelligence model. On the one side, we have seen ChatGPT led by OpenAI. On the other side, we have seen DeepSeek of China. It's a time for India to have its own sovereign AI model. And India as a technological power should show its prowess in AI technology also. The first ever AI university in India is being established at Maharashtra. So it's a time for India to do more research. India should have its own AI foundational model, and AI, generative AI technology is very, very important for India. And we had that Bharat GPT, but it is in the nascent stage. And the other and the last important thing which I can tell you, there are many important news which I could not compromise, but the most important thing, an Indian Air Force aircraft, a twin-seater Mirage 2000, crashed on Thursday in Shivpuri district of Madhya Pradesh after a system malfunction, but pilot was safe. The Indian Air Force said the fighter plane was out of a routine exercise and crashed after encountering a system malfunction. The Indian Air Force said in a post in Twitter, the plane crashed at around 2:30 p.m. in Shivpuri in Madhya Pradesh. This is the thing. So, Indian Air Force Mirage 2000 crashed.